Facts First presents movies that are too difficult to watch all the way through. Many people love horror movies. These people think the scarier the film is, the better it is. If there's not enough blood and gore in a film, they don't want to watch it. Well, here are some movies that even some of the most hardcore horror lovers can't bear to watch. It's some movies that are just too difficult to watch all the way through for most people. Before we get into our list, jump down to the comments and tell us, what is your favorite horror or scary movie of all time? Also, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. Mother. Darren Aronofsky is known for his disturbing and surreal movies. When Mother came out in 2017, fans said he did not disappoint. The film is about a famous poet named Him, who moves to a rural and secluded house with his girlfriend Veronica. Him's deluded fans show up at the house and they start turning violent toward Veronica. These scenes are especially brutal. Critics and audiences liked the movie, but it's highly controversial due to the religious allegory, infanticide, and cannibalism. Veronica. Veronica is a Spanish-language horror film on Netflix. It's loosely based on the death of Estefania Gutierrez Lazaro in 1991. She is said to have died while using a Ouija board. In the film, she's using the board to contact her dead father when she becomes possessed by an evil demon. Critics praise the film, but many people who've seen it say it is the most terrifying film ever made. Many say it was just too scary to finish watching. Meet the Feebles. This might look like a children's film, but it's not. Peter Jackson is the man behind this movie, and he got his inspiration from the Muppets. It might not be incredibly gory or scary, but seeing family-friendly puppets behaving so badly is apparently too unsettling for some people. Revenge. Revenge was released in 2017 by the French director Coralie Farguet. The film starts with a woman being assaulted by her lover and his friends. Later, they leave her for dead in the middle of a desert. The beginning scenes are extremely disturbing, but what happens later is even worse. She manages to survive in the desert and goes after revenge. The scenes are violent, psychologically disturbing, and very graphic. The film is so intense that Matilda Lutz, the woman who plays the character looking for vengeance, says she was very uncomfortable while filming. During the film's premiere at the Toronto Film Festival, an audience member had a seizure and needed medical attention. Many believed it was the disturbing scenes that triggered the seizure. Green Inferno. This 2013 jungle-based horror film is so disturbing that most people couldn't sit through the whole thing. It's about a group of student activists who stumble on a tribe of cannibals in the Amazon rainforest. The scenes of torture are just too much to watch. When Roth was asked why he pushed the bar with this movie, he said, "I don't want people to watch this film to walk out of the theater. I want them running away in fear." A Serbian film. A Serbian film was released in 2010, and it's filled with abuse and torture. It's about a broke adult performer named Milos who agrees to star in an art house film to make some money. He's forced to perform acts that are so horrendous they will turn your stomach. The film is so disturbing that it has actually been banned in Germany, Norway, Spain, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, and New Zealand. According to the director, the film was not intended to shock the viewers. It's a metaphor for power and how those in charge can trick us into doing things that are not in our nature. Raw. This movie follows a vegetarian college student who during her first semester in veterinary school eats meat for the first time, and it's not long before she starts craving human meat. When the film premiered at the Toronto Film Festival in 2016, some of the audience members fainted during the particularly violent scenes and needed medical assistance. Because of its graphic nature, the movie did not make it to many theaters in the United States. Most countries have never even heard of the film because it's banned there. Hereditary. This 2018 low-budget film, Hereditary, was a massive hit due to its balance between shock value and psychological thrills. The film ended up making almost $80 million, which is 10 times what it cost to make. Critics say the cast helped make the film so terrifying because you really believe that they feel every ounce of their pain. Caligula. Caligula is based on the life of the Roman emperor of the same name. The film attempts to show the degradation of the power-crazed ruler of the region. There's plenty of sex and violence in the movie. It was produced by Penthouse magazine, so the whole cast was made up of adult film stars. The movie was so bad the film critics walked out halfway through. Many countries just refused to show the film at all. Martyrs. The 2015 American remake of Martyrs is nowhere near as disturbing as the original French version that came out in 2008. When the film was released at the Cannes Film Festival, there was a mass walkout. Even the people who created the movie could barely sit through it. The movie is about a young girl who is imprisoned and tortured. The film was reviewed in the New York Times, and the reviewer wrote, "Even the most devoted horror fans will think twice before watching Martyrs." The Woman. This movie is about a dysfunctional family's attempt to civilize a feral girl. To do this, they imprison her and subject her to horrendous physical abuse. It premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2011, and many of the audience members called it inhumane and without any public value. Some even believed that it should be banned altogether. It's just too much for many people to watch. Irreversible. This film is filled with graphic, sexual, and physical violence. If that's not enough to make you want to stop watching, the filmmakers added sounds of a frequency that can't be heard by the human ear but can still cause physical discomfort and distress. When the film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, hundreds of people walked out. There were even reports of people fainting. One of the movie's lead actresses, Monica Bellucci, said that she never saw the film after they finished shooting it. She says it was too disturbing to revisit. The Angel's Melancholy. You shouldn't even attempt to watch this movie if you have a weak stomach. The film shows horrific acts of animal cruelty and hyperviolence that's too much for even the biggest horror fan. Many people who've seen the film say the movie exists only to shock and disgust the audience. If you walk out of this movie before the end, you'll actually be doing yourself a favor. The Great Ecstasy of Robert Carmichael. Director Thomas Clay intended this 2006 film to be a political commentary on the Iraq War. The film followed a young man named Robert Carmichael who falls into a gang involved with violent crimes and drugs. People found the film to be way too graphic, and when it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, many people got up and walked out. The House That Jack Built. This film follows a serial killer during a 12-year murder spree. The film was banned from the Cannes Film Festival for years because of a few comments supporting Hitler. In 2018, the committee allowed the Danish director Lars von Trier to show the film, but they regretted doing so right away. During the showing of the film, dozens of people walked out, and he was disqualified from the award nomination because of the graphic content of the movie. Goodbye, Uncle Tom. This film was released in 1971, and it portrays the brutal realities of slavery in the United States. The filmmaker may have had good intentions, however critics and audiences found it to be disgusting, exploitative, and racist. Even the hateful group the Ku Klux Klan spoke out against the movie, saying that it was a Jewish conspiracy to incite a race war. If a hateful group like them hated the movie, you know it's really bad. Bite. When the film Bite premiered, the theater put barf bags on all the seats. That's how you know it's going to be bad. The movie's about a woman who is bitten by a bug on vacation in Central America. Soon she starts transforming into an insect. The transformation was very graphic and gory. Many of the people who saw the film required medical help due to the gross nature of the film. The Human Centipede. This movie made quite a stir when it was released 10 years ago. It's about three 20-somethings who get kidnapped by a psychotic surgeon and subjected to his horrific experiment. He sews his victims' mouths over the person's anus in front of them. He then forces them to eat, knowing what will happen next. The movie is so disgusting that even people with the strongest stomachs couldn't handle it. Most people don't even make it halfway through the film before turning it off. It is truly a disgusting and depraved movie. The Bunny Game. This movie is about a sex worker who is kidnapped and tortured by a deranged, drug-addicted truck driver. The woman who plays the lead role took it to try and come to terms with her own past as a sex worker. The woman ends up going through real-life abuse, including branding, which is too much for most people to watch. There's not a single part of the movie that's easy to sit through. Baskin. Baskin is about a group of police officers who accidentally stumble through a portal to hell. There, they experience all types of unspeakable violent acts. The movie is so violent and graphic that it's not for the faint of heart. Most people are unable to make it through the film, and it's earned the reputation of being the goriest and most disturbing film ever made. Requiem for a Dream. This movie is about 4 addicts trying to reach their own happy endings but failing in horrible ways. Many people who've seen the film say that it's not easy to watch and it'll leave you feeling the effects for days. Gummo. Gummo was released in 1997 and was so horrific that most of the audiences around the country walked out in the middle of it. It's about a group of teens living in a run-down house in Ohio who pass the time in disturbing ways. Between the animal abuse and the satanic rituals, the movie is too much for most people. The premise and the screenplay had to have come from a depraved mind. The Holy Mountain. The Holy Mountain has a number of disturbing scenes that feature mutilation, sexual assault, and the most disturbing things imaginable. It's rumored that the director, Alejandro Jodorowsky, took LSD before making the film. The actors were said to be under the influence of psychedelic mushrooms during filming as well. Some say that that was the only way that they could get through filming. The Cannibal Holocaust. This film masqueraded itself as found footage, the same way that the Blair Witch Project did. The movie focuses on a group that gets lost in the Amazon jungle and they encounter a tribe of bloodthirsty cannibals. The director did such an excellent job of showing brutal murder and treatment on the film, many people who saw it thought that it was real, that it was a snuff film. Those who did called the police. The director, Ruggero Deodato, was arrested and charged with obscenity and murder. After an investigation and the police confirmed the actors were not murdered or tortured, the charges were dropped. He may have been set free, but his movie ended up being incarcerated. After his release from prison, the film was banned all over the world. Subscribe for more.